to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask for the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, the work session, and the regular meeting of September 6th. The meeting minutes are in your packet. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? All right, if there are no additions or corrections to the minutes, they stand as approved as written. Okay, report of committees and officers. We'll now ask for reports from Ms. Gaines.
No report, sir.
Mr. Connor.
No further reports from the work session.
Lieutenant Sarubin. Chief Yu. Mr. Tucker. And Mr. Raines.
No report.
Mr. Raines, do you have recommendations from the Planning Commission?
I do, but those were sent at staff level and now are on the agenda for tonight. So.
All right. Now is time for public participation. We'll open the floor for public participation. We ask that you stand at the podium and state your name and address, and don't forget to hit the red button so you can speak. The floor is open. Saying no one here, we'll go. Floor is closed. So under announcements, we have the following. Join the City of Spanish Fort Fire and Rescue Department at its annual Open House Public Safety Day on October 15th, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rain or shine, we will be there with lots of fun activities for the kids, including rock climbing, the smokehouse, Sparky, free food, car fires, the Jaws of Life demonstrations, raffles, vendors, and much more. Also, the United Cerebral Palsy will be present at Spirit Park on October 1st, 2022 from 8 a.m. to noon to conduct electronics recycling. They'll be accepting computers, servers, laptops, DVD, Blu-ray players, cell phones, tablets, home office telephones, telecommunication equipment, computer, audiovisual cables, keyboards, flat screen TVs, monitors, printers, and fax machines. However, no tube TVs or ink cartridges, please. This is a free service. Moving on with the agenda, Congressman Jerry Carl recently sent out a survey to the Spanish Fort residents asking for feedback about our postal service. Please check your inbox and fill out the survey. If you did not receive a survey, please send your recommendations to jerry.carl@mail.house.gov. It's important that the congressman and his staff receive your feedback, and we need your help to help us get the post office. So please help us where you can. Please join us for a free concert with your family. The Mobile Symphonic Pops Band will be performing at Spanish Fort Community Center on Sunday, October 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. Fame, the Fine Arts, Music, and Entertainment will have an art guild show prior to the concert from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Come out, bring your picnic blankets and tailgate chairs, and enjoy music on the grounds of the community center as we celebrate the fall season. Lastly, on October 29th, the City of Spanish Fort and the City of Spanish Fort Public Library will host a family movie night on the grounds of the Spanish Fort Community Center. Licensing requirements prevent us from saying who it's going to be, but one of them's green and one of them's a donkey. So let your mind run wild on those things. But bring your blankets and your tailgate chairs and enjoy a movie at 7 o'clock or as soon as it gets dark, enough to see the screen, which 7 o'clock at the end of October should be pretty dark. The public is invited to begin arriving at 6 p.m. and there will be lawn games set up to enjoy in advance of the movie. The event is free for the entire family, and more details can be found, including the movie name, at the Spanish Fort Library's website. Right, moving on. I don't believe we have any old business, so we'll get straight on into the new business. Under the new business, we have a public hearing on ordinance 603, 2022. Present ordinance, David, can we,
Mr. Chairman, this is an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise to Comcast of Alabama LLC for the purpose of maintaining distribution lines for the provision of cable television within the public rights-of-way of the city of Spanish Fort. They're requesting to provide cable television services in the city for a term of 10 years. They're proposing to pay a 5% of gross receipts on cable television services provided in the city, and a copy of the proposed franchise is attached to the ordinance in the body of the ordinance. This is up for public hearing tonight. There are a few items that we're still working on trying to resolve, and so I would suggest that you have the public hearing and then take action on this item at a subsequent meeting.
okay, thank you. It's seeing no one present. Oh, okay, let's go ahead and open it for public participation. Public hearing, sorry. All right, seeing no one, we'll hold that one over to the next. Public hearing closed, and so now we'll hold it on to the next agenda. Moving along, we want to present ordinance number 604, 2022. David?
Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed ordinance establishing regulations for mobile food units to operate in the city of Spanish Fort. We have had requests from residents and vendors to allow for mobile trucks and food units to operate in the city. This ordinance was subject to a public hearing at the Planning Commission meeting, and they forwarded a positive recommendation for this ordinance adoption. Section 2 of the ordinance basically states or requires that mobile food units obtain an annual business license from the city, that they're also required to obtain mobile food units operators annual permit that includes the requirements that they meet all health department requirements, all applicable laws, rules, and regulations, including fire inspections that must accompany and be approved by the fire department. All sales within the city are subject to city sales tax. Section 3 requires that they perform these inspections on an annual basis, and it establishes hours of operation in Section 4 from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Only allows a food truck to operate not more than 3 consecutive days in the same location, and cannot operate on more than 2 different individual sites within the city on the same day. There's no more than 2 mobile food units can operate on the same property unless there's approved by the city council for festivals, celebrations, or otherwise. They're required to dispose of all waste. They're required to keep all receptacles and all equipment within a certain distance from the mobile food unit that cannot block or obstruct public rights-of-ways, intersections, crosswalks, or access to buildings. They're required to be located off the public right-of-ways. They're not allowed to use any amplified microphones, bullhorns, flashing lights, or ground signs. They cannot occupy parking spaces that meet the minimum requirements of other uses unless those units do not comply at the same time or use the facilities at the same time. They're required to make sure that they avoid excessive noise, do not create a public nuisance, and signs can only be on the vehicle itself. There's no ground signs with exception of a menu board or sign that can be placed no less than 10 feet from the mobile food unit. They're not allowed to operate on public property unless they have prior written approval from the city. And again, they cannot obstruct bicycle ways, rights-of-ways, or otherwise. No mobile food units are allowed to operate within 500 feet of the nearest entrance to any restaurant in current operation unless they have the restaurant or the property owner's permission to operate in that facility within that location. The enforcement provisions require a minimum fine of $250 and not more than $500 or 6 months in jail for violations. And Section 8 of the ordinance reserves the right of the City Council to amend, modify, revoke, or repeal this ordinance in its entirety, depending on how this operation works out. We're basically taking a look and see to see how everything operates here, and reserves the right to revoke this privilege in the future if it doesn't work out.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion from the council?
Yeah, I have a couple things. David, one of the last things that you were speaking about when you mentioned the 500 feet, just for clarity, you said that no one could operate within 500 feet of a restaurant. And I guess My question is, some restaurants now have mobile food units. Does that mean that if Billy Joe's Barbecue has a restaurant and they have a mobile food unit, they can't pull their mobile food unit on the property within 500 feet of their restaurant and work out of it and the inside?
No, they absolutely can do that. It's 500 feet to the nearest public entrance unless the owner of the restaurant itself or the owner of the property allows for that. So he can bring his own equipment in. He absolutely
Okay,
can. He can also allow other people to come in to supplement what he does.
okay.
Be at his election.
And the other issue that I wanted to clarify, and I've lost my place when I turned to that one in the back, was, no mobile food unit operating on more than 2 places in the same day. Do you remember where that was?
Section 4D.
4D, no more than 2 mobile food units shall operate on the same site per day, especially previously. The one above it, C, no mobile food unit shall operate on more than 2 individual sites within the city per day. And what came to my mind on that is some of these mobile food operators have more than 1 food truck. So if we had one that had more, let's say they had 2 food trucks, if they set up in one spot, say for that morning or for lunch, they can't set up later in the day, or is each individual truck counted as a unit, or the restaurant that is represented counted as a unit?
I think we would count each truck as an individual unit.
I just want,
Yeah.
and I don't really care.
Yeah,
I just was throwing that out for clarity so we didn't have an issue with it down the road.
Yeah, I think, we'll take a look at that, but I think the idea here is that each truck is a mobile unit in and of itself. Because you have the mobile food vendor is a separate definition, which is the owner, which could be an owner of 10 trucks.
Right.
So I think we're talking about 1 unit.
I've thrown it out there for clarity. Thank you, Carl.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, there will be a public hearing on this ordinance held on October 3rd at the city council meeting to hear any comments in opposition or in favor of the proposed ordinance. October 3rd. Next, I'd like to introduce ordinance 606, 2022. David?
Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed ordinance amending the master plan for Churchill 2 subdivision of planned unit development. The developer submitted a revised or amended PUD master plan to the Planning Commission, and it held a meeting on the September 12th meeting, and the Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for the proposed amendment to the Churchill 2 subdivision PUD master plan. A copy of the legal description of the property is attached as Exhibit 1 to the resolution. A copy of the originally approved master plan is attached as Exhibit 2, and a copy of the amended master plan is attached as Exhibit 3. And if you'll note in the middle of Exhibit 3 on the west side of the property about midway, they basically reduce the road and 12 lots from this development. Otherwise, the layout remains the same, and in the place of the 12 lots, they've added just 1 larger lot in that location. And the Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation, and this will be for a public hearing at a subsequent meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And so this is reducing the number of lots instead of trying to cram more of them in. So, thank you. Any discussion from the council?
I think we discussed it in a work session, and I got pretty good with it, but in looking at the wetlands around it, I'd like to just make sure that Casey and them do reach out, and if they're gonna leave it undeveloped, make sure that we don't end up with erosion going down in that area off these others that gets overlooked.
Right. Anybody else? Thank you. Well, there will be a public hearing held on Monday, October 17th at the city council meeting to hear any comments in opposition or in favor of the proposed ordinance. Yeah. Moving on, I want to introduce Resolution 1258, 2022. Pardon me?
607.
Oh, 607, I'm sorry.
Okay.
607, 2022, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, 607, 2022 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, changing the zoning classification of certain property identified as Lot 6E, Eastern Shore Center, Phase 4, Spanish Fort, Alabama, from B3 to B5. The owners of the property have requested that the property be rezoned from B3 General Business District to B5 Hotel Motel District in order to allow for the construction of a hotel on the site. This property is located to the rear or adjacent to the Dillard's department store at the Eastern Shore Center. At the Eastern Shore Center, located next to Dillard's at the Eastern Shore Center. The Planning Commission held a public meeting on September 12, 2022, and held a public hearing and forwards a positive recommendation for this rezoning request. This ordinance will be placed on the agenda for a public hearing at a subsequent meeting.
Any discussion from the council? There will be another public hearing on October 17th at the city council meeting to hear any comments, opposition, or in favor of the proposed ordinance. Want to present resolution 1258, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, resolution number 1258, 2022 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to contract with Care House, Inc., doing business as the Baldwin County Child Advocacy Center for services provided to the city of Spanish Fort. The Child Advocacy Center provides a tremendous asset to this community and assistance to children who are victims of crime. In particular, for the Spanish Fort Police Department and others, they provide investigation and interview services and assist with managing those children and their families during these times. And this resolution would authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with Care House for the provision of services to the city in the amount of $1,000. A copy of that contract is attached as Exhibit 1.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council? This is a budgeted item that we've done every year, and they provide a wonderful service to the city, so commend them for that. Can I get a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt Resolution 1258, 2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes,
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner.
motion's adopted. Would like to present resolution number 1259, 2022. I understand that Mr. Connor has a conflict of interest, so Ms. Gaines, could you help us with that one, please?
Yes, sir. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Baldwin County Commission and the City of Spanish Fort. And this resolution covers connection to the county's interoperability radio frequencies. This would cover both police and fire radio frequencies at the cost of $10 per radio per month and allow connection with the county's network.
Any discussion from the council?
At the last meeting, we talked about repealing the one we did, the ordinance or resolution we did that was just the PD, and including it in this one.
And that was resolution number 1253, so if we would like to officially rescind 1253, then the chairman pro tem would just ask for a motion to rescind and a second discussion, et cetera.
Any further discussion from council?
I'd like to ask, legal, do we need to go ahead and adopt 1259 first, or do we need to rescind 1253 first?
Why don't we just add section
Yeah.
4? Or let's renumber section 3 to be section 4. And section 3 will be, it states that, what was the resolution?
1253.
Resolution number 1253, 2022, will be repealed in its entirety.
You're adding that to this resolution,
Yes.
1259?
Everybody's
you-
good with that?
So
Just
all you
adding
need
it.
to do is just ask for a,
Yes.
So with that amendment, if someone wants to make a motion with that amendment.
Can I get a motion to adopt 1259 with the rescinding resolution 1253?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 1259 with the amendment that David put in that would rescind 1253.
Second.
Roll call, please. Any further discussion? Sorry. All right, no further discussion. Can I get a roll call, please?
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner.
Yes.
All right, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1260, 2022. David?
Mr. Chairman, Resolution 1260, 2022 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with engineering services and consulting services between the City of Spanish Fort and Goodwin Mills and Kaywood LLC for the purpose of preparing plans and specifications and providing consulting services for the renovation of the existing fields, including sod and irrigation at Spirit Park. The proposed agreement is attached as Exhibit 1, and the amount of compensation is $45,000 for this, the services to be provided.
Any further discussion? From the council? Can I get a motion to adopt?
Make a motion, we adopt Resolution 1260-2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith, Gustafson.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner.
And the resolution is adopted. I would like to present Resolution 1261, 2022. And I understand that David has a,
Nope.
David, can you help us with that one? Thank you.
Resolution number 1261, 2022 is the general operations budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. The City of Spanish Fort has always adopted a budget to express its plans for the upcoming year, including policies adopted by administration or supported by administration and the City Council. The mayor and City Council worked diligently for several months along with staff to assist and prepare the proposed budget each year, and the city has been very fiscally responsible over the years to make sure that it spends and operates within its means. For this fiscal year 2022-2023 budget, the total operations budget for the year is $15,245,166. A copy of the proposed budget is attached. It has been available for public inspection and is open for a public hearing tonight. Mayor McMillan is participating by Zoom call, and I think he would like to add some comments regarding the budget.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mayor,
thank you,
please.
Mr. Connor, and thank you, Carl, for hosting this meeting. I apologize for not being able to be there, but my other job called me out of town, and it's one of those things that I just can't get out of. I had to be at. So thank the council for allowing me to come with y'all. And, you know, it's the wonder of Zoom now. We've never had this capability before in the past. I know our policies in the past is to have everybody there, but with Zoom, I'm able to come in and talk about some things, particularly the budget. And a lot of people to thank for this. A lot of department heads, police, fire, library, senior citizen, of course, Becky and staff, the admin, Eddie Tucker and Casey. A lot of people put a lot of work into this budget. It's not something that just comes together in a week. Let me assure you, we start work at least 3 to 4 months ahead of time to start working on this. Very pleased to present this budget to the council tonight. It's heavier than it has been in the past, but it's because we have some carryover monies to make it that way. A lot of highlights involved, and of course, the strength of any city is our employees, and I'm very proud to say that we have budgeted this year 2.5% annual raises for all employees, plus the cost of living of 5.9%, which is, 8.4% raises. Now, that's very healthy, and it's not something we can sustain forever, those kind of levels, and hopefully Washington will straighten out some of the inflationary numbers and COLAs, but that's beyond our control. But certainly the strength of any city is its employees, and I'm glad we're able to take care of it. It is a balanced budget. I know Mary and I came on this council at the same year, I think it was 2004. We have consistently had balanced budgets and have operated in a very fiscally conservative manner. Certainly the biggest part of our budget is our health and safety, the safety aspect, particularly in police and fire. That eats up most of our budget. I'd say a good percentage of our budget, but those are things that we need to do, always will do. So very proud of that. Also, there's some school funding numbers in there. We continuing our funding for the 4 schools within the city. This year, we also are including a one-time stipend for Stonebridge to help them get off the ground and move forward with some picnic benches and those kind of things to the tune of $12,000. So I can't begin to thank everybody enough, the council and the staff, for all their work that went into this to make sure we could present this budget in a timely manner to get it adopted prior to the October 1 fiscal year start off.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that we've had some lively discussions about the budget, and everybody here is very fiscally responsible, and I'm comfortable going forward with this tonight, knowing I had some questions answered as well. So there's some exciting things coming at Spanish Fort, and I'm satisfied that we are fiscally responsible enough to be able to pay for them. So over that, can I get any further discussion from the
Mr.
council?
Chairman, we need to open the public hearing.
Yes, going there next. We'll go ahead and open it for public hearing. If you can speak, press the speak button and give us your name and address, please. Saying no one here. Go ahead and close public hearing and call for any further discussion. Okay, can I get a motion to adopt? Resolution 1261.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution number 1261-2022.
Second.
Roll call, please. Any further discussion, please? Seeing none, now we'll ask for a roll call.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner.
And the ordinance is adopting the budget. So once again, we'll go into the year with a budget. I'd like to present Resolution 1262, 2022. David?
Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Spanish Fort and Riviera Utilities for the purpose of installing GIF outlets on the decorative lighting installed along U.S. Highway 31. This proposal will install the outlets on the lighting every third pole to allow for holiday decorations and other uses. The amount of the proposal is for 47 of these at an amount of $14,993.
Great. Any discussion from the council? Understand that there are over 150 lights out there, so this is going to be a lot of, it's going to look great. Can I get call for any discussions? Roll call, please.
Your motion.
Or motion to adopt, I'm sorry.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 1262, 2022.
Okay. Now,
Second.
any discussion from the council? None? Can we get a roll call, please?
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner.
Yes, the motion is adopted. And moving on down the line, I'd like to introduce Resolution 1263, 2022. David?
Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution appointing a member to the Spanish Fort Public School Commission. As you'll recall, the voters voted to create or authorize a levy of an ad valorem tax to supply funds for the